Starts right now.
Well, overnight, another round of heavy rain for the Hill Country.
And of course, we know why that might have some people on edge. So we're going to go straight to meteorologist Sarah Spivey, who's going to be breaking down how things are looking this afternoon. Sarah.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So the good news is the rain has pretty much come to an end for the most part around San Antonio and around the Hill Country. You can see here on the Authority radar, what we're looking at is just some patchy showers nearer to Del Rio, Rock Springs, Kenny County, some patchy showers moving through the Kerr County area, also near Medina and Bandera. So this is rain that these folks can definitely handle with any kind of recovery efforts. I'm sure they've been delayed up until now, but as we're heading into the afternoon, things will quiet down for us. Now, overnight, as you mentioned, it was very, very stormy west of San Antonio. You can see in parts of Uvalde County and even up to Real County along the Nueces River, up to about 4 to 6 inches of rain fell, and that is why we are currently seeing the Nueces River flood in at least minor stage. This picture courtesy of Jordan Aguilera. He is the Edwards County Office of Emergency Management. He represents that office, and this here is north of Barksdale. You can see the Nueces River here flooding over those low water crossings. So along the Nueces, people need to be aware today. Yesterday it was the Frio. Today it's the Nueces. The Nueces at Laguna, it crest already at about 11 feet in minor flood stage at around 7 o'clock, but farther downstream here at Old Eagle Pass Road, this is just before you get to 83 here. The Nueces is expected to reach minor flood stage at 5 p.m. with a forecast crest of 12 feet. So folks along the Nueces need to be alert. This is not major flood stage, but minor flood stage, still enough to cause some issues along low water crossings. Now, looking ahead to the rest of the day, we'll be seeing temperatures climb to 92 degrees for the high here in San Antonio, and a small chance for a few showers and storms later on this afternoon. But I'm happy to say, after today, we are going to dry out. I'm going to have the latest on this historic period of rainfall for us, how many of our rivers have seen either their record crests or the highest they've been in over 5 to 10 years. Details soon.
All right, thanks so much, Sarah. Well, 97 people are now listed as missing in Kerr County. That update came from Governor Greg Abbott. That number considerably lower than the 161 people officials reported missing last Thursday. Governor Abbott did not give an updated death toll specifically for Kerr County, but he did share the newest statewide number, which is now at 131. As for Kerr County, the last time officials there updated the number of lives lost was on Sunday. At that point, the death toll was 106. Here's what Governor Abbott had to say about the difference in those numbers.
Those who are missing on this list, most of them, were more difficult to identify because there was no record of them logging in anywhere. And it was through information provided by a friend, a family member, co-worker, whatever the case may be, that they haven't been found.
And it is extremely important for us at KSAT to remember those that we've lost in the catastrophic flooding. So far, officials are still not confirming the identities of those who have died, but we are learning what we can from family members. So you can scan the QR code on your screen to read more about the lives that we know have been lost.
Well, recovery efforts are ongoing, and TxDOT crews are on the ground to help repave roads that were washed away on July 4th. Well, RJ Marcus spoke with TxDOT officials about the very tough process of reopening the roads in the Hill Country. RJ.
Yeah, guys, Steph and Courtney, obviously, after spending a couple of days here, you kind of get a sense of the real gravity of the destruction. And this is now more than a week after July 4th when we saw that catastrophic flooding. So wanted to just get a sense from TxDOT about some of the process that they are going through to get some of these highways and roads reopened along the Guadalupe River. And it is going to be an ongoing process, still a long ways to go. I want to pan out a little bit here. And this is our photojournalist, Santiago Esparza, to show you a little bit of the debris that is still here at the Lima Street Bridge. This is in Kerrville, and it has been reopened after it was checked by TxDOT officials to be structurally sound and safe. Now, the columns were not damaged, but the bottom of the bridge underneath had just piles of debris. It was jam-packed with tree stumps, tree trunks, anything and everything that you could imagine. And you see right there, there's still signs of the Guadalupe River and the flood gauge out in that one particular spot. But TxDOT officials, again, have been scouring the entire hill country right now to just kind of clean up debris throughout the rest of the area. Again, checking on different things, overpasses, roads. But before we came out here yesterday, TxDOT officials wanted to show us a piece of guardrail that was twisted like duct tape. I mean, literally twisted like duct tape that they recovered on Highway 39 in the aftermath of the flooding.
Yeah. So what you're seeing here, those of you familiar with a lot of our bridge approaches or our culverts, you'll see what we call metal beam guard fence that kind of ties into that concrete rail. It's there to protect that blunt end of the bridge or low water crossing from impact. And so typically these are designed to take an impact and kind of absorb the force. But what you can see here, this is more, kind of looks exactly what it would typically look like, that W frame. Well, what happened here on both of these, this one in particular, that looks more like a towel that got wrung. One end was basically fixed. When the water started to kind of go through the low water crossing, it basically just, the force of the water twisted it over and over until you got what you see here, which in the 20 years that I've been here at TxDOT, I haven't seen that happen before. I've never seen this. So this is kind of new for us to see how powerful the water is at some of these low water crossings. But this is just a good indicator of what you saw out there. We've done assessments of all our roads in the area, and so we do have other damage to a lot of our guardrail, and we're in the process of getting contractors to go out there and fix that. So maybe not to this extent, but we do see a lot of our guardrail, damaged and things that we got to fix, signs, pavement, things like that.
Yeah, that was Charles Benavides, the TxDOT San Antonio district engineer. And again, he kind of likened this to what they saw during the restoration efforts for Hurricane Harvey. As he mentioned, he had never seen anything like that in 20 years since he's worked at TxDOT. But again, fortunately, they were able to check everything here at the Lima Street Bridge and get this reopened. This is obviously a very important bridge for people here in Kerrville, kind of connects parts of I-10. A lot of businesses are up the roads here, and the Hayes Park area is a little bit down the road here, but still an ongoing effort. You see the amount of debris out here at the Guadalupe River, and this is going to take a while before they get all of this cleaned up. So that's the latest out here from Kerrville on the side of what TxDOT is doing to help out some people here, some folks and some first responders just get these roads back to a little bit of normal. Steph and Courtney, back to you guys.
All right, thank you so much, RJ. A lot of work ahead. Appreciate that live report. Well, the phone lines are open, and we have people standing by ready to take your calls. Our KSAT Community Phone Bank aims to answer your questions about the Together for Texas donation drive, but volunteers are not taking donations directly over the phone.
Well, they can talk to you about the donation drive, and they can talk to you about ways you can help. So you can call the number on the screen for more information. That number is 210-351-1363.
This campaign is in conjunction with our sister station, KPRC in Houston, Graham Media Group, our company, and Gray Media Incorporated. The goal is to support relief and recovery efforts for families and communities severely impacted by the Hill Country flooding disaster.
Well, all the funds raised will go directly to on-the-ground efforts in flood-affected areas through the Salvation Army. So thanks to your generosity, we have been able to raise more than $803,000.
Wow, $803,000. Unbelievable. Well, Texas, your generosity has been overwhelming. KSAT got a chance to talk to the volunteers at Cross Kingdom Church in Ingram, who said your donations are making it straight to those who need it the most. The entire church is full of water, new clothes, and cleaning supplies. They are a distribution center for people in Ingram and Hunt. Their focus has been on cleaning supplies, chainsaws, and wheelbarrows that victims are using to clean up. But their next call for donations starting this week will be on tools to rebuild.
Now we're really thinking forward of the rebuild stage. So building material, tools, anti-mold solution, all of these homes are going to need to be treated for anti-mold. So I'm trying to think ahead of the game of like, okay, what's coming up next?
So they are fully stocked, though, on water, diapers, and used clothes. So please don't bring them any more of those items. Just make sure you're bringing exactly what they need.
Well, the last 11 days have been heartbreaking for so many, but there is help available. There is a crisis support line set up for those impacted by the Hill Country floods. The Texas Flooding Emotional Support Line is available 24/7, and that phone number is 833-812-2480. Now, this will provide professional counseling for free, and of course, all calls are confidential.
In other news, a man is in jail in connection to a double murder that happened in an H-E-B parking lot. This is 49-year-old Lorenzo Aleman being escorted by San Antonio police officers.
Well, here's a look at his mugshot. Investigators tell us that he is accused of shooting his ex-partner and another man. So he is facing charges of capital murder. Now, the deadly shooting actually happened just before 11 on Sunday night at the H-E-B on South New Braunfels Avenue. And that's where police say they found a man and a woman dead from gunshot wounds. Now, officers say that Aleman took off after that shooting, the pair, and was arrested about 5 hours later. San Antonio police say that witnesses played a huge role in helping identify the suspect.
We also want to take the opportunity to remind you, if you or someone you know is going through a domestic violence situation, you are not alone and you do not have to suffer in silence. Scan the QR code on your screen. It takes you to an entire website, which is ksat.com/domestic violence for a long list of resources.
Well, $70,000 in purchases without providing a single receipt.
Yeah, a Texas A&M San Antonio employee resigned after her use of a school credit card was called into question. An investigation revealed the woman was using a forged signature and the log-on credentials of her coworker to approve her own expense reports.
It is surprising. Usually we find this issue with, private entities, private companies, where they don't have all the checks and balances and they're kind of just winging it as they go and creating policies as things like this happen.
So tonight on the Night Beat, the university responds with what they plan to do to prevent this from happening again.
Well, it might be the news that Spurs fans have been waiting for, an update on Wemby and how close he could be to joining the Silver and Black back on the court again.
The Supreme Court has sided with the Trump administration for now clearing the way for the dismantling of the Department of Education. I'm Christiane Cordero in Washington with those details coming up.
Well, the Supreme Court has cleared the way for the Trump administration to dismantle the Department of Education.
Education advocates warn the president's plan will severely impact students in low-income communities and those with disabilities. ABC's Christiane Cordero reports it also promises to gut the department's workforce.
It was a promise he made on the campaign trail.
Your state is going to control your children's education.
Now, President Trump's plan for the Department of Education, tested and passed through the Supreme Court, can be put into action. States already administer their schools' curriculum and, along with local governments, are responsible for most of the funding in public schools. The federal Department of Education oversees billions of dollars that largely go to students in low-income communities and those with disabilities. It also enforces civil rights laws within school systems. And within the department itself, the layoffs of more than 1,000 workers paused by a lower court are now able to proceed. The emergency Supreme Court decision gave no majority opinion, but Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote a dissent backed by the court's two other liberal justices. In it, she argues the unconstitutionality of letting the president decide the fate of a department created by Congress, writing, "The majority is either willfully blind to the implications of its ruling or naive, but either way, the threat to our Constitution's separation of powers is grave." Education advocates warn the cuts will leave vulnerable students without critical services, from special education to financial aid. The administration has suggested some of the DOE's core functions, like federal student loans, could be taken over by other agencies, like the Treasury Department. Education Secretary Linda McMahon celebrating the Supreme Court's decision.
I'm just incredibly pleased that the authority was reinstated where it should be. This lifts the handcuffs off of what we've been trying to do.
This comes as 24 states sue the Trump administration for withholding $6 billion in Congress-allocated funding. The grants had bipartisan approval, but are on hold because the administration wants to review where the money will go. The states are asking a federal judge to intervene. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Back here at home, taking a look outside with live cam. It's definitely still muggy out there, but the main thing that we're looking at is some of these showers, because yesterday a lot of this flooding came back.
And overnight too for the Nueces River. The Nueces is flooding right now in minor flood stage, but for all of this rain, the aquifer is down half a foot in the last 24 hours. As for the pollen count, molds are up. They're past 2,000, down from yesterday, but still high. Now here's a good graph for you. Look at that. We're going to see a lot less rain in the area in the days ahead. But I do have to talk about how it has been a historic week for us, week and a half for us. Just about every single river in our viewing area has flooded at some point. I'll have those details coming up.
Well, after everything that's been happening over the last week and a half, it really is triggering for a lot of folks. I was back in Kerrville yesterday. Even just that slight amount of flooding, It really makes people nervous. So I'm glad that you guys have been so on top of it, because even these smaller rivers as well.
And let me tell you, it's going to make people nervous for a very long time.
Understandably.
So the thing is that right now things are quieting down quite a bit for us. But it was an eventful night. Take a look at the Authority radar. This is a look at the rainfall since about midnight last night. You can see that things are fairly quiet right now, but overnight there was a lot of rain that fell, and this time it fell pretty much right over the Nueces River. That's why the Nueces is flooding. It's expected to reach minor flood stage, but we're really not going to be seeing any major threats to life or to property along the Nueces. So that is some good news there. This is a look at the current Authority radar, and you can see that there are some showers approaching the Kerr County area and approaching Ingram and Hunt. Now these are just showers and they're quickly moving. So even though this area is going to briefly get some rain here, kind of talking about what Courtney was mentioning there, there's no need to worry about this producing any flooding. So that is some good news there. However, folks in Hunt and Ingram, just be ready for a quick shower. Meanwhile, around San Antonio, let's go ahead and turn on the radar a little bit closer to the Alamo City. You can see it's fairly quiet at the moment, but into the afternoon, we could have a couple of passing downpours. Now, one thing about this rain is that it has fallen overnight in an area that needs rain. An extreme drought right over there across areas in Kenny County down toward northern Maverick County. We do have exceptional drought in Medina County, and I've went ahead and outlined this. Keep in mind Medina County here. Just about the whole county is under exceptional drought. Take a look at the rain over the last 2 days. It's pretty much missed Medina County. So Medina County will likely still be in some form of extreme or exceptional drought, but the amount of rain that's fallen over the extreme drought area in Uvalde County in the last 2 days in northern Maverick County amounts to about 9 to 12 inches of rainfall. So we're likely going to see drought eliminated or severely reduced in a lot of these areas west of Medina County. Again, unfortunately, the rainfall for the most part has missed the Hondo area. Now, before the break, I was mentioning that nearly every river in our viewing area has experienced some kind of flooding since the start of the month. Of course, the Guadalupe at Hunt crest at 37 feet on July 4th. That's the record for that area. That's the highest the river has ever gone since we've recorded out there. The Medina at Bandera on that same day did reach 17 feet, and the last time that it had flooded to that level was back in 2016. The Guadalupe at New Braunfels on the day after, on July 5th, flooded at 11 feet. That's where it crest, and the last time a comparable flood of that nature happened was in 2021. The Frito at Concan and the Nueces at Laguna flooded yesterday and today, and the last time that happened was in 2018. So it has been a long time, at least 4 to 8 years, that we have seen this kind of flooding in our area, and never before on the Guadalupe, especially at Hunt. So this rain has been real deal, and the reason why we've seen the rain is because of these stubborn low pressure systems that have just hung around. And that low pressure system is now approaching San Angelo. It is moving up to the north. High pressure, high means dry, is going to push in the next couple of days. So because of that, our rain chances are going down. We're not going to have any rain chances Wednesday and Thursday, and then there's only a small chance on Friday and Saturday. We'll talk a little bit about that in the next half hour. But just to get through your day, here's your KSAT 12-hour forecast. 92 for the high in San Antonio. There's a small chance you'll have to turn on the windshield wipers when you are heading home for the afternoon commute, or when your family is heading home for the afternoon commute. And then we'll be looking at temperatures near 79 degrees by midnight. So looking at that 7-day forecast, temperatures climbing to the mid to upper 90s in the coming days. And the reason for the potential for rain on Friday and Saturday, and it's small, is because we could have some tropical moisture thrown our way from what is potentially developing in the Gulf. I'm going to be talking about that in the next half hour. We could easily have a tropical storm Dexter on our hands in the Gulf of Mexico or Gulf of America, however you prefer, coming up next week. I'll have those details in the next half hour.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Well, so far so good for the San Antonio Spurs, how they continue to take down the competition in the Summer League, plus who they're taking on next.
Well, ever since his departure from playing back in February due to a deep vein thrombosis on his right shoulder, we have been waiting for the day that we can say Victor Wembanyama is back. At least that's what a report says from a French newspaper. So the paper reports that Wembanyama has been cleared to play. Now, the two sat down for an interview during the Wemby's visit to Las Vegas to hang out with his teammates and watch some Summer League games. Wemby missed the final 2 months of the season after having that surgery on his shoulder to fix the blood clot. But according to the article, Wemby is a full go, and the Spurs medical staff have approved his participation in full contact activities. Well, in the article, Wemby told the newspaper, quote, "I am officially cleared to return. It just happened. I got the green light from the Spurs medical staff just a few hours ago, last Friday. Phew, I'll finally be able to play a bit of basketball again," end quote.
We love to hear it.
Yeah.
Happy for Wemby. And the Spurs beat the Utah Jazz last night in overtime, that final 91-93. On Thursday, the Summer League games continue. The Spurs face the Charlotte Hornets at 6 p.m.
Well, the hill country roads that you see ravaged by the July 4th floods still need a lot of work. Our RJ Marcus takes a look at the task ahead for TxDOT crews.
Extreme weather slamming the Northeast, slow-moving thunderstorms causing a state of emergency in New Jersey. I'm Rena Roy, and I'll have the latest coming up.
Days after heavy flooding did major damage in the hill country, TxDOT crews are busy clearing out roads and debris for first responders and people who live in those hardest hit areas.
And our RJ Marquez is live in Kerr County with information on how those roads are looking so far. RJ.
Yeah, that's right, Courtney and Stephanie. Obviously, this is going to be an arduous process. As we've seen throughout the entire hill country area, it is going to take time. And that's the one message that officials at TxDOT want to say, that this is going to take a long while before they're able to fully kind of get every road operational, specifically parts of Highway 39 and FM 1340. Now, right here behind me, we're actually in Kerrville at the Lima Street Bridge, a bridge that a lot of folks use to get to and from work, to get to and from their businesses, and also to get to parts of Hayes Park, which unfortunately had that 4th of July celebration set for folks here in Kerrville, and we ultimately saw the devastation that was left behind at that point. You could see the tree line, just how high the the water was in this one particular spot. What TxDOT officials told me was that basically water completely covered this one stretch of bridge. Guardrails were damaged on the upper level of this bridge, also underneath as well. An estimated 20 to 25 feet of water again covering this area. So TxDOT crews right away, once the water receded, moved to check the bridge's structure and the columns. And while that was deemed to be safe after days of this bridge being closed, there were slabs of concrete that were just completely removed from the bridge here, completely stripped off the bridge. And the upper railing again was damaged as water rushed through this area.
We did see a lot of damage on the top railing, which you see up here, the bent railing. A lot of debris was stacked along that, and I know you can't see it now because we've removed a lot of that, but we had pretty high stacks of debris that were attributed to the damage that you see on that rail. 39, we got pockets of road that do have a pavement that's washed off that we're in the process of fixing. And 1340, we got a lot of culverts that had washout around them. The amount of water that went through there and the velocity that it went through, it really did some damage to our road that we really hadn't seen before.
Yeah, and that was Charles Benavides, the TxDOT San Antonio District Engineer, and he basically, again, gave us that update on Highway 39 and 1340 in Ingram and Hunt, and said that they have recovered about a mile stretch of just Highway 39 that was completely ripped off just asphalt down several miles down the Guadalupe River. So again, this is an ongoing process. He said that Highway 39 specifically and FM 1340 would likely stay closed for at least the next month, at least to the general public. Now, it has been reopened to first responders and of course folks that are living there and that do business there that are trying to salvage whatever they can. But back here at the Limo Street Bridge, they are asking folks to not walk underneath the bridge because there are several walkways that have been severely damaged underneath the bridge, and they're asking folks to obviously stay off the sidewalk there as well. They have a couple of barriers and barricades. And Stephen Courtney, I was here yesterday doing that interview, and one thing that really struck me, I spoke to a gentleman here who was just kind of looking at this one stretch of the river, and I'm sure that you guys have heard similar stories, but he said that he came here often with his grandson to just go fishing and just do recreational things here. He said that his grandson, he will never forget the day that his grandson caught his first fish down here at the Limo Street Bridge, and watching it now, it is completely unrecognizable, and you could just kind of see the sadness on his face. Now, fortunately, he said that his family was okay, but definitely a lot of sadness here as folks kind of continue to recover from everything that we've seen over the past week and a half or so. So reporting from Kerrville, live over at the Limo Street Bridge, which has, again, reopened to drivers, not necessarily to pedestrians. I'm RJ Marquez. I'll send it back to you guys, Courtney and Steph, back at the studio.
How long is it going to take? Who knows? I think we'll still go strong for another month or two, up to maybe 6 months, winding down.
Well, that was Kerr County Sheriff Larry Latha giving a timeline on how long it could take to find those who are missing. It's one of the updates Kerr County commissioners gave about the challenges from the July 4th floods.
Well, the sheriff says that hundreds of volunteers have come to help, but not all of them are registering with officials.
The biggest problem we're having are our unsupervised volunteers. But we don't know where they are. We don't know what they're doing.
Looking out there with live cam, it's calm here in San Antonio and also in Kerr County where RJ is, and he was talking about how people are still in shock and very sad with things just even looking different.
Yeah, looking at the authority radar right now, we do have a couple of showers moving into Kerr County, closer to Hunt and Ingram, but these are totally manageable. I do just want to be very cautious and alert folks that might be a little nervous for rain. These are just quick passing showers that shouldn't interrupt too much of the coverage and the recovery efforts out there. There's some patchy showers elsewhere nearer to Del Rio, but the biggest story overnight was that we had an abundance of rainfall right along the Nueces River. And you can see up to about 3 to 6 inches of rain fell on the Nueces overnight, and that has resulted in flooding. Take a look at this picture earlier in the day sent in by Jordan Aguilera. He is with the the Edwards County Office of Emergency Management. Here's the Nueces River here, and this is again north of Barksdale. You can see this low water crossing covered with the river. So the river is flooding in minor stage. It reached a crest of 11 feet at 7 a.m. near Laguna, and it's expected to flood near Old Eagle Pass at 12 feet at 5 p.m., which is minor flood stage. Old Eagle Pass Road is right here between 90 and 83 where the river crosses there. So just be aware if you're around the Nueces River, that is expected to reach minor flood stage today. Our high temperature in San Antonio will be 92, and we do have a small 30% chance in the afternoon for a couple of isolated storms, but nothing that would cause any flooding. Hey, coming up, we're going to take a quick check of the aquifer, and I also want to talk about the tropics. There's a potential that we could have a tropical storm in the Gulf later on this week. Courtney.
All right, Sarah, and it's not just us that's dealing with flooding. Dozens of rescues, even a house explosion as torrential rainfall leads to dangerous flash flooding in the northeast part of the country. Millions of Americans have been affected.
In some areas, seeing a record amount of hourly rainfall. In New Jersey, a state of emergency declared due to that flash flooding. ABC's Rena Roy reports there's a threat for more flooding today.
More than 50 million Americans hit with heavy rain and flooding.
Attention passengers, I can't open the doors, it's not safe.
In New York City, water gushing down subway stairs and onto platforms. The rainwater seeping onto this train car. Central Park recording just over 2 inches of rain in 1 hour. Its second highest hourly rainfall total on record. In the suburbs north of the city, this parkway shutting down.
Route 22 for a water rescue. Be advised, we are in storm mode at this time.
Parts of New Jersey also flooded.
Back up.
Water rushing down roads like rivers in Scotch Plains. This woman wading through high floodwaters and cars submerged on this residential street. First responders helping drivers get out, dozens of people rescued. Part of the New Jersey Turnpike underwater, traffic forced to stop. And in North Plainfield, in the middle of the flooding, a home destroyed by an explosion. The police department saying it appears to have been a gas leak, but they don't believe anyone was in the home at the time. In Plainfield, New Jersey, at least 2 killed after their car was swept into a brook during flash flooding. The governor has declared a state of emergency.
You know, last night we got crushed. 6 inches of rain in under 2.5 hours in 2 waves. Importantly, one wave sort of knocked a lot of these communities a little bit off kilter, and the second one came in for the kill.
And around 2,000 flights were canceled around the country due to weather. More than 900 of those were at the 3 airports here in the New York City region. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Well, a rule meant to help people boost their credit scores is now going away, what it could mean for those with medical debt. Well, Americans' unpaid medical bills will remain on their credit reports after all. This comes after a federal judge annulled a Biden-era Consumer Financial Protection Bureau rule that would have removed medical debt. Now, a Texas U.S. District Judge found that the rule exceeded the Bureau's authority under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. The CFPB rule would have removed nearly $50 billion in medical bills from credit reports of 15 million people.
Outside, we are seeing plenty of sunshine here in San Antonio, but we could see a few pockets of rain later on this afternoon. What we don't need is more rain in San Antonio because the pollen count is high. Molds are high due to recent rains, so it'd be nice to be able to see that come down. Unfortunately, though, the aquifer is down half a foot over the past 24 hours. In spite of the rain we've had, it didn't really land on the recharge zone of the aquifer. Now, there's some good news. After a small chance for rain this afternoon at 30%, our rain chances go away for the day, but we do have to watch the Gulf carefully. I'll have those details in a bit.
Well, things are pretty quiet here in San Antonio. We hear there are passing showers in Hunt and Ingram, but that's important to note because a lot of us, we were talking about it earlier, get nervous now with the rain.
Any bit of rain for that area is going to bring nerves for quite some time, and rightly so. But yeah, they are passing downpours, so shouldn't do too much to hinder any kind of recovery or cleanup efforts out there. Here's a look at the authority radar right now. You can see popcorn showers and a few storms throughout areas in the Hill Country. Let's go ahead and take a look at Kerr County right now. You can see again these very moderate rain showers just passing over 39 up to Mountain Home. There's a couple more behind this as well. So we're just going to have a few passing showers throughout the rest of the afternoon in that area. It was a very noisy overnight though for areas west of San Antonio, closer to Brackettville. We do want to mention that there were several water rescues yesterday near Quemado, which is right on the Rio Grande here. Between Del Rio and Eagle Pass, and we've got the latest on that story right now on KSAT.com. About 47 people rescued from my recollection there, as the Rio Grande is even flooding. But we did see quite a bit of rain west of San Antonio. Here's a look at the rain that happened last night right over the Nueces River. This is why we're looking at some minor flooding along the Nueces. Some areas reporting about 8 inches of rainfall. So a lot of rain falling on the Nueces. That river is now flooding. The Frio is flooding a little bit farther south of Canipa, but again, it's only at minor flood stage, so that is some good news there. Let's go ahead and take a look, though, at the impressive rainfall totals since July 1st at some of these areas. Ingram, of course, up to about a foot of rain. Lakey, almost 11 inches of rain. Garner, nearly 10 inches of rainfall. Kerrville proper, about 9 to 10 inches of rain. In Medina, about 9 inches of rain as well. So a lot of rain has fallen, and that's why we're seeing some of these rivers starting to flood and swell. Now, you might be asking, why has it been so rainy? Well, in the summer months, we get pretty stagnant weather patterns. We don't have a cold front to help kick weather patterns out of gear. Sometimes that's when that high is overhead. When that high is overhead, the heat high, we end up with days and days and days of triple-digit weather. On the contrast, you can have low pressure systems that just kind of hang around and are still and end up producing a lot of rain. And that's what we've had. We've had a stagnant weather pattern. It hasn't changed all that much with those low pressure systems, but we have had a lot of rain because of that, because nothing has been able to kick out those lows. And I think a great example of this is when we compare 2023, when we had that heat high overhead, to our forecast now. When we had the heat high overhead back in 2003, around this time, we were dealing with day after day after day of triple digit weather, high temperatures above 103 for several days in a row. And this week, you know, that we're not going to have as much rainfall, but temperatures are going to be a lot cooler than they were back in 2023 because of the recent rains that we've seen. And as I mentioned, we are going to see our rain chances come down in the days ahead. Tomorrow, Thursday, no chance for rain. Friday and Saturday, there's a small potential there for some moisture to move in. And the reason for that is because of a tropical system. We'll talk about that in just a bit. For now, though, know that this afternoon, a 30% chance for you to see rain on your evening commute. Otherwise, it's going to be a quiet evening with temperatures falling into the upper 70s by midnight. Here's a look at the tropics and what we're watching. There's an area of disturbed weather right now over central Florida. That is going to be moving into the Gulf, and all indications right now is that that low pressure system, regardless of if it becomes a tropical storm, if it does, it would get the name of Dexter. It's probably going to impact the Louisiana coast. That's what most indications are suggesting right now. There's an off chance that it'll stay disorganized and fling some moisture our way. And for that reason and that reason alone, we have a 20% chance of rain on Friday and Saturday. So odds favor us being dry and drying out in the coming days, which again, we've been in drought for so long, it's not something I thought I would say anytime soon, but I'm glad we don't have much rain in our forecast. We'll be back with more news after this.
Well, there are a lot of ways that you can continue to help those in need in the Hill Country.
Project SMASH is hosting Dance for a Cause. It's a community-driven event that aims to raise vital funds for the people impacted by these floods.
And the special dance workshop is going to be happening from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the SMASH Dance and Fitness Studio located on Bandera Road. They are asking for a $10 donation, and of course, all the proceeds benefiting the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund.
And the phone lines are open. We have people standing by ready to take your calls.
Our KSAT Community Phone Bank aims to answer your questions about the Together for Texas donation drive. However, volunteers are not taking donations directly over the phone, so they can talk to you about the donation drive and then ways you can help.
You can call the number on your screen for that information, 210-351-1363. This campaign is in conjunction with our sister station KPRC in Houston, Graham Media Group, and Gray Media Incorporated. The goal to support relief and recovery efforts for families and communities severely impacted by the Hill Country flooding disaster.
Now, all of the funds raised will go directly to on-the-ground efforts in flood-affected areas through the Salvation Army. Thanks to your generosity, we have been able to raise more than $803,000.
All right, we are seeing a few showers up in Kerr County, but these are passing showers. The key word there being passing, so they're not creating any flooding issues. Looking ahead to our forecast in San Antonio, we'll be seeing a pretty dry stretch here also across the Hill Country, so that is some good news there. Highs will be in the mid to upper 90s, very humid with all of the recent rains as well, but it is nice to see a larger break in the rain in our forecast. We're going to keep you posted about that potential disturbance in the Gulf. Friday and Saturday, just a few showers from even that remote possibility right now.
You are right. I would never thought I would say I would hope the rain would slow down, but glad it is.
Glad it has.
Yeah. All right. Have a great day.